to talk a bit more about all of this. First of all, let's talk about this UN Security Council meeting today. Could anything really come out of this?
A few headlines, yeah, but really not very much more than that. You know, if it looks like anything is going to come to a head, the Russians will veto it. They'll make sure that, you know, no resolutions are passed. Nevertheless, you know, it's likely that it will make the headlines over the next 24 hours or so, and that will be unwelcome to the Russians. Russia will be put under the spotlight, portrayed as being the international aggressor, the bully, and so on and so forth. Linda Thomas-Greenwood, the US ambassador to the United Nations, has said, you know, she is going to be putting the spotlight on the Russians. She's prepared to listen to whatever security concerns the Russians have, but she's not prepared to listen to Russian propaganda. And that is exactly what the Russians will be trying to put forward. Interestingly, Dmitry Polyansky, her equivalent on the Russian side, has been describing this meeting as shameful, because as far as the Russians are concerned, it is simply that, a propaganda stunt to try and portray the Russians as being the aggressors when they regard themselves as being anything but. You know, not very much will come out of it, a lot of noise. Perhaps more important will be the telephone conversation which will take place on Tuesday between the Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov and Antony Blinken, the US Secretary of State, the two men who've been really leading the negotiations between the US and Russia up until now. Will anything arrive out of that? Probably not in the medium term, but you know, they do seem to have been developing a sort of a rapport, and if anything is going to happen, it'll be directly between them.
Now, all of this is coming, of course, as the U.S. Congress is negotiating what is called the mother of all sanctions.
Yeah.
The EU has also been talking about sanctions as well. Is there a real difference between the U.S. and the EU's position?
Not a substantive difference, I don't think. I think there are differences in nuance and differences in approach. And you know, when we talk about the U.S. position, I think we need to bear in mind that there's not real clarity in what the final U.S. position is going to be. There are talks that are going away in the Senate Foreign Affairs Committee at the moment, and they look as though they're almost on the same page now and ready to come up with that package which you've just referred to, described by Bob Menendez, the leader of the committee, as being the mother of all sanctions. But up until now, there have been certain Republican members who have been going for something stronger even, preemptive, you know, to punish the Russians for the cyber attacks, for the false flag attacks on Ukraine, and for other attempts to destabilize Ukraine. By and large, I think the US and the European Union have done a very good job on being on the same page. There is no doubt that they've been coordinating their positions. And if Russia does attack, there will be a very strong response in terms of sanctions. Of course, all sides want de-escalation. And perhaps the Europeans are talking more about de-escalation at this stage than the US. But ultimately, that's what both sides want. Interestingly, and this is a bit of an outlier, the leader of Hungary, Viktor Orban, is going to Moscow tomorrow. Been a lot of criticism, that particularly from within Hungary. But Ben Wallace, the UK Defence Secretary, has welcomed the trip by Viktor Orban to Moscow as perhaps a possibility to further the process of de-escalation.
All right, Rob, thanks for keeping an eye on that for us. That's our Chief Foreign Editor, Robert Parsons.